Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Welcome back, dear students. We have, alhamdulillah, accomplished our units, and we are going to just reach the very end of our semester here, and we're going to see what is left for us. So let's just go back and revise what we have here. Now, of course, these are our 4 units which we have studied throughout the semester. We have Unit 5, Do You Really Need It? Unit 6, The Gender Divide. Unit 7, Everyone Makes Mistakes. And Unit 8, Against the Odds. Now, we have studied a lot. We have learned new information. We studied grammar structures. We learned new vocabulary. We passed by the reading passages. And, of course, we learned how to write new paragraphs. Now, we are going to just go through the expansion of the units, which is also in the book. Before we start, we have our learning objectives here. We have the first one, number 1, to apply different grammar structures in sentences. Number 2, to revise vocabulary learned throughout the units. Number 3, to track learning progress. So we are going to start here with the language review. Now, you have on page 124. In our page, we have the first exercise, A. Rewrite each pair of sentences as a single sentence with an adverb clause. So do you remember what we studied before about adverb clauses? We understand now that we have here 2 sentences. We are going to rewrite them into one single sentence using the adverb clause. Use a word or phrase from the box to begin each adverb clause. Now, for some items, more than one answer may be possible. So you can see that we have here the words. We have because, if, in order to, or just to use to, only if, so that, where, even if, in case, now that, since, unless, and wherever. Now we are going to use these words within the adverb clauses here. We are going to just rearrange what we have here, or the sentences, or actually we are going to combine them into one sentence. So here you can see that we have here 2 sentences. We have the first one, check the product carefully. There may be defects. Now we are going to just combine them together by writing, check the product carefully in case. Now you can see that we have here, in case there are defects. We are going to start. But before, did you just notice that we have here the word defects? Do you remember the word? We learned the word before. Now we have something defects, which means that there is a problem with it, or something that is not working properly. So, just to pass by here the conjunctions based on meaning, we have the 4 meanings. You can use these conjunctions, the words that we passed by, either to refer to a place, or we can say that we have here reasons, or we can mean conditions, or we can also mean purpose. So they are the same words that we had in the box. Now we know that we have the conjunctions. If you can just recall that we divided them into these 4 parts. So we are going to start with our exercise, and as we just noticed that I used the word defects here, we are going to also make use of the sentences we have here by just revising some new vocabulary that we studied. Now we have number 1. You feel anxiety about leaving your job. You should still do it. Now here you can see that I put the box within the conjunctions, so we can just make use. I'm going to give you just a second here, just to relate. You feel anxiety about leaving your job. You should still do it. So we have here the sentence we can write. Even if you feel anxiety about leaving your job, you should still do it. Now here you can see that we use the conjunction or the phrase even if. And because it came at the beginning of the sentence, don't forget to put your comma. So this is something very important to remember. And just remember also that if you have the conjunction in the middle of the sentence, here you do not have to use the comma. Now also to recall one of the vocabulary words that we passed by is the word anxiety. Now if you remember anxiety here, when you feel that you are worried or nervous about something. Moving on to the second sentence. The police will have trouble finding the criminal. It would help if there were a witness. So here we can combine the sentence by saying the police will have trouble finding the criminal unless, so there is a condition here, unless there is a witness. So we used here the conjunction unless, and also if you can see that we have here the word witness. Also, witness is one of the interesting words that we can use as a noun or as a verb. So just to say that we have here this accident. Now, la samhallah, if you just pass by an accident here, you can say that you witnessed the accident, you saw it when it happened, or we can just refer to these people here and say that they are witnesses. Moving on, we have number 3. We have finished this tedious task. We can relax. So we're going to combine between the two sentences and we're going to say, now that we have finished this tedious task, we can relax. So you can see that I used it at the very beginning of the sentence, which means, of course, that I have my comma. And also, just to revise here, there is a new word that we studied. So just read the sentence here. Do you recall the word? We have the word, yes, tedious. Now, when we say that something is boring, it is long, okay, and also it takes a long time to do, we can say that it is something tedious. We have number 4, she feels restless. It doesn't matter where she is. So there is a hint in this sentence because we have the word where. So we have here, we're going to say, she feels restless wherever she is. Now we just changed a little bit in the sentence, so we can use the conjunction wherever. Also, to recall that we have here the word restless, we studied the word restless here, and of course it is very clear from the word rest. Less, so we have here the opposite. Now restless means that you cannot relax, you cannot sleep. Now there is something bothering you, so you feel restless. Moving on to number 5. Now let's read the sentence here. Let's choose our destination, then we can book our trip. So we are going to choose the destination, then we can book our trip. So what can you see? We can use something for purpose or maybe reason. Or what do you think? We can also use condition. So what do you feel that is more suitable for this sentence? So let's see here. We have, let's choose our destination so that we can book our trip. Yes, okay, so that is one of the conjunctions that is used for reason. Number 6, more consumers buy that brand. It has a good reputation. So we have here, why do these consumers buy this brand? Because it has good reputation. So here we can see that there is reason. Now we can write our sentence, more consumers buy that brand because it has a good reputation. And actually here we can focus and see that we have some new words here. We have the word consumers, if you remember. Now in Unit 5, when we studied about do you really need it, we mentioned the word consumers, who we said that they are close, or the word actually is close to the word customer. But we have your consumer is someone, it can be online or in a shop or in any place that buys something, the consumer. Also, you can see that we have here brand. Now, brand is one of the easiest words that we have in the book. Now, brand here, there are millions of brands that are known. Of course, there are food brands, clothes brands. There are many brands that you can just recall. And we have also the word reputation. Now remember always that it is very important to have a good reputation. Moving on, we have number 7. He wants to be accepted into a prestigious university. He will have to study hard. So we have here, he will have to study hard and he wants to be accepted. So we can add a little bit of condition here. Now we can write our sentence. If he wants to be accepted to a prestigious university, comma, he will have to study hard. And also, if you can recall now, we have the word prestigious that we said that's something that is high quality or high class. Now we have number 8. The secret agent altered his appearance. It was difficult to recognize him. Now we have here, there is something about changing their appearance, and we have the reason. Now we can say that there is a reason or a purpose. So the sentence that we can come with is, because the secret agent altered his appearance, it was difficult to recognize him. So we have here the conjunction because, and you can see that we have here also since can be used. So there are two options here. We can use either since, or if you chose to use because, both of them are correct. Okay, after that we have here our comma. Yes, we have the word alter. Now, do you also recall the word alter? Now, when you choose something to do it and then you change your mind, you want to alter. Now, for example, do you remember the example that we said about studying at university? You can major into something and you can alter to something else. So we have the word alter here. It means that you can change something to another. Now, moving on to our second exercise here, we have here B. Write 2 sentences about each item using adverb clauses. So we are still using the same adverb clauses that we recalled before, but we can see that we have here some pictures and we're going to write 2 sentences about them. Now, we have, I brought an umbrella in case it rains. And I can say, wherever I go, I bring an umbrella. So in the first sentence, there is the conjunction in case, and we have here also wherever. We are going to start with our exercise. Yes, now number 1, there is a bicycle. Now you can write any sentence you want, but you must use a conjunction. So let's just write, for example, I ride my bicycle wherever I go. Number 2, since I got a new bicycle, I don't mind riding to school. Now you can notice that when I use the conjunction at the very beginning, I put the comma that we have here in the sentence. Number 2, a bilingual dictionary. So we have the first sentence, for example, now that I have an electronic bilingual dictionary, it is easier to look up words. And in another example, I use my bilingual dictionary only if I can't understand the English definition. Number 3, a cell phone. I always carry my cell phone in case of an emergency. And we can say in another example, bring your cell phone so that you can call me when you get there. The last example here, we have a chocolate bar. Now we can write 2 sentences, for example, I can't resist a chocolate bar even if I'm hungry, or I'm not hungry, sorry. And we have number 2, I'm not hungry for dinner because I ate a chocolate bar earlier. Now here, just to note that when you choose a different conjunction, the whole meaning of the sentence may change. Now, we are going to move on to the second page, which is 125. We have here C. Explain what each person is saying. Use the verb in the parenthesis followed by a gerund or an infinitive. Now, we did study in Unit 6 about gerunds and infinitives. Just to recall here, Sabrina said, oh no, I think I left the oven on when I left my house, and they put between brackets in the book the word forgot. We can here write the sentence, Sabrina thinks she forgot to turn off the oven. Now, just to recall, we have here the verb forgot, and we have here to turn. Now, do you remember when we studied here about this part or the grammar lesson in Unit 6? We mentioned that we have here different verbs like regret, try, remember, stop, and forget. Now, these 5 verbs, we can use them with either gerunds or infinitives. We explained the difference that a gerund is a word that has an ing. It looks like a verb, but actually it functions as a noun. And we have here the infinitive, which means to use the word to here with the base form of the verb. Now, just to also recall here, you will forget to revise. Now here you can see, because we have the word to, I use the base form. And in the second, you will forget revising the lesson if you are not paying attention. Now here, note that also the meaning of the whole sentence changes when you use the infinitive or the gerund. Also, just to remember that we can change the verbs or the 5 verbs here. We can use either the present simple, the past, the future. So you can see, for example, here, Amal remembers to revise grammar weekly. Ahmed tried in the past to understand by himself. They have stopped, participle, to take a break from studying, or the perfect, sorry. And we have here the teachers regret to tell. We also have here the present simple. Now, we are going to start. We have the first one, Ahmed. Ahmed said, I shouldn't have bought this car. It keeps breaking down. Now here we have the verb regret. He bought something and he regrets buying it. We can see here the sentence, Ahmed regrets buying the car. In the second sentence, you can see the difference. Adela said, I wish I could be at the meeting, but unfortunately I can't. Also, there is regret. But here, note the difference between the two sentences. The second one, Abdullah regrets not being able to be at the meeting. So here you can see that we have here the same verb, but we used it in different structures. Number 3. Tom said, we got so bored of that TV show, we don't watch it anymore. Stop. Now here we can say that we have Tom got so bored of that TV show that he stopped watching it. We have number 4, Alan. The election is Monday. Make sure you vote. Remember. Now we can turn it into a complete sentence using remember by saying that Alan told us to remember to vote on Monday. Now you can see that we have here stopped watching, there is the gerund, and we have here remember to vote, the infinitive. Moving on. Dennis, he said watching the Olympics live was incredible. I will never forget it. Remember. So we can say in another structure, Dennis will always remember watching the Olympics live. After that, we have number 6, Andrew said, Jack and I were driving when we saw fireworks. We pulled over and watched them. And also we have the verb stop. So here we can say, Andrew and Jack were driving when they stopped to watch, there's an infinitive, to watch the fireworks. Number 7, we have Kaya. Now she said here, I'm looking for a dress for the wedding and try. Now we have here, we can say that Kaya is trying to find the infinitive, a dress for the wedding. And we have here in number 8, Jimmy said, did you look online for the tennis match schedules this weekend and try? So here specifically, we are looking online for something. So we can also rewrite the sentence by saying, Jimmy asked if we tried looking online for the tennis match schedules. Yes. Now we have revised the conjunctions. We have also revised using verbs with gerunds and infinitives. We are going to move on to something different here. We have a very enjoyable exercise here. Now, for each pair of pictures, you can see in the book that you have different pairs of pictures. Now, for each pair of pictures, write sentences with but, or, and with an auxiliary verb. Now, do you recall also in Unit 6 that we studied something about using but and, or and, with auxiliary verbs? Now, just to revise here, the KSA is in the Middle East, but the US isn't. Now, here in this sentence, you can see that we have the connector but, and we have at the very end of the sentence, there is the auxiliary verb is. So we have here, just to revise, that we have helping, or we can just call them auxiliary verbs. There are different types of auxiliary verbs as we studied. We passed by them within the unit. Now all of these verbs, they are called either helping or auxiliary verbs. Now we're going to move on with our sentence here. Or sorry, just to revise also auxiliary verbs after but and. We have here but, to use it with the subject and the auxiliary. Now, for example, my sister isn't good at remembering special occasions, but my mother is. Also, we have and. Now, and can be used either for positive sentences, we can use to, and we can use it for negative sentences using either. So let's just read the examples. He enjoys outdoor activities, and his son does too. So this is positive. We have the second sentence. We don't like going for walks in this heat, and he doesn't either. So you can see that we have here the connector and. We have after that doesn't, auxiliary, and at the very end we have either. So note that we have here negative. Now, we have the same example here. We're just going to write another sentence. The KSA and the US, we had one example. And we can say also that Saudi Arabia is a large country and the US is too. Now, just think about these two. We have here a cell phone and a laptop. Now, note that you are free. You can use either and or but here in the sentence. It is your choice. So, the first sentence that we can write, a cell phone is a form of technology and a laptop is too. So we have here positive. We have a third example here. Now you can see that there are two types of food, and in the book they mentioned that we have here a burrito and sushi. Now, are they the same? We can choose to say. You can just think about any sentence. Of course, we have here just examples. You are free to use whatever content or context that you are comfortable with. We have number 3, a burrito is a typical Mexican food, but sushi isn't. So note that this time I used the connector but. We have here isn't, the auxiliary with negative. Coming to our last example here, you can see that we have here two pictures. Now, relating to what is written, we have here, now there is a race car driver and there is also a mechanic. So this time we can choose to say, a mechanic fixes cars, but a race car driver doesn't. Also note that we have here but, we have at the very end the auxiliary verb, and we have here it is negative. We have completed our exercises in these 2 pages. We have here more to do in our next lesson, but just to make sure that we are on the same track, what did we do? Our outline for the day. To revise grammatical forms studied throughout the units, apply grammatical structures, and complete exercises and tasks in the expansion. So note that we just did a simple revision of some of the structures we are going to complete, inshallah, in our next lesson, so be ready.